in Kant's philosophy, you have a system of transcendental categories that all of our sense experiences involve. We can't escape them, and yet they themselves are not experienced. Okay, so transcendental refers to things that are necessary for experience, but are not themselves experienced. You have to do some reflection to uncover them. Concepts like chair are learned, but they are formed upon more basic transcendental concepts in Kant's theory, like an object in general, for example. And Kant thought that these were simply part of consciousness. Consciousness involves transcendental concepts. Well, that's kind of interesting, and it helps to explain what he called the experience of categorical unity. So when you experience something as a unity of different parts, that's categorical unity. When you experience a chair, the chair is the category, and you're experiencing categorical unity. Okay, but now we get to the fun part, non-categorical unity. Non-categorical unity. Kant noticed that experience itself is always unescapably unified. Now, he tried to argue for this in a number of different ways, and my sense is really, you can't argue for this in a way where you have sort of premises and a series of argumentation with a conclusion. You have to be awakened. You have to kind of really be awakened to this idea that he was trying to express as non-categorical unity. And one of his ways of arguing for it, or trying to bring his readers into awareness of it, is my favorite one, is the fact that we all experience is inescapably my experience for each of us. You can't escape an experience being mine, my experience. If one of you can do that, please tell me, because I can make you rich, and I'll get 10% of it. You can't escape mineness, okay? It's always my experience. Well, that's kind of interesting. Let's actually look at some quotations from Kant. Kant based some of the ways he was trying to articulate this insight he had on things written by Leibniz, a philosopher earlier than him. And Leibniz had come up with this idea of apperception. Apperception. Perceive with. Apperception. And here's what Leibniz writes about apperception when he introduces it in a book called Principles of Nature and Grace. Leibniz writes, "Therefore, it is well to make a distinction between the perception, which is the internal condition of the monad representing external things, and the apperception, which is consciousness or the reflective knowledge of this internal state. The latter, apperception, not being given to all souls, nor at all times to the same soul." It's a state of awareness he's talking about. So that means being aware of the unity of experience. Just being aware of the unity of it. If we're not aware of that, it's no problem. We just see a chair and we move over and sit on it, and we ask somebody to get us a cup of tea or whatever, and we're in a flow of activity, and we're not looking especially for the unity of experience. But if we notice the unity of experience, it's kind of startling. Now, the reason I got excited about this when I started to read Kant and then Hegel and all these guys was I'd been doing yoga and meditation practice for years first, and that's a very important thing in my life still. It's a spiritual side of things for me that I also find to be really inherently connected with critical theory. Spirituality in a very broad sense, not confused with religion, okay? This awakening to the idea of the unity of experience is like an experience that we have in meditation. And it's quite exciting, because it has to do with the mindness. There's something like a self-affirmation that's felt for a flicker when that happens. And it really feels wonderful, and it's something like a unity, and it's very hard to put into words. And if you notice you're having it, then you lose it in meditation.